everyone, welcome to another video. This is Cambridge IGCSE Biology 061022, November 2022, Variant 2 paper. You will be given 40 MCQs to solve in 45 minutes. Let's start. Question number 1. Which process provides an organism with the raw materials needed for tissue repair? So we know this is clearly nutrition. Nutrition is the only correct answer since we need glucose, protein, etc. to repair the tissues that has been damaged. So 1C is the only correct answer. Number 2. Which name is given to a group of individuals that can reproduce to produce fertile offspring? The only correct answer, as you know, is a species. A species is described as a group of individuals that can reproduce and produce offsprings which are fertile, or they can reproduce themselves. Number 3. Root hair cells are found on plant cells. Which feature is present in a root hair cell but not in a sperm cell? So we are asked to find out a feature that is present in root hair cell and not in sperm cell. So cell membrane is present in both. Cell wall is only present in plant cells, not sperm cells. So cell wall will be the only correct answer. You may think that chloroplast is also present in plant cells but not in sperm cells, but we're asked for root hair cell specifically. So chloroplast will not be the answer because root hair cells do not contain any chloroplast since they do not photosynthesize themselves. So 3B will be the answer. 4. The cells listed have specialized structures that allow them to carry out their functions. 1. Ciliated cell, nerve cell, root cortex cell, sperm cell. Which cells have structures that can move? Okay, ciliated cells we know contain cilia, which are able to move in our airways, and it moves mucus throughout the airways and our digestive tracts. So for sure, ciliated cells. And sperm cells also have flagellum, which helps them to move, giving them this kind of structure. So 1 and 4 will be the answer. So 4B. 5. Some examples of substances moving across membranes are listed. 1. Glucose molecules into the epithelium that lines the small intestine. 2. Nitrate ions from a dilute solution in soiled into a more concentrated solution in root hair cells. 3. Water molecules from mesophyll cells into the air spaces of a leaf. For which example must oxygen be present? If you have noticed, 1 and 2 are clearly active transport, and 3 is water molecules moving, so it's supposed to be osmosis. So 1 and 2 is active transport, and as we have studied, active transport requires energy from respiration, and respiration requires oxygen. So for 1 and 2, we need oxygen to be present. So 5B will be the answer. Number 6, plant tissue is placed in a solution. What would cause plasmolysis of the plant cells? 1. The external solution having a higher water potential than the plant cell. The external solution having a lower water potential than the plant cells. Water moving out of the cells, water moving into the plant cells. Okay, so plasmolysis occurs when the cells become flaccid, that means water will move out. So water will move out. So 3 will be correct, and it happens because of the lower water potential in the external solution. That means the solution that is around the cell. So that will have to have a lower water potential so that water moves out of the cell. So 2 and 3 will be correct. So 6C is the correct answer. 7. DNA is a molecule consisting of 2 linked strands. Part of a single strand of DNA has the sequence of bases shown. What is the sequence of bases in the second strand? Imagine that here is the second strand. So opposite of A, we will have T, since A and T binds according to the base pairing rule, and C and G binds together. So this is according to the base pairing rule. And since there is A, we will have T first. So C is the only correct answer. There is no possibility that this will be correct. So yeah, on the opposite side, we'll have T, G, G, C, A, C, T, T. Yeah. So 7C is the correct answer. Number 8, the graph shows the concentration of a substance during the course of an enzyme control reaction. Which substance is this? This is clearly A, enzyme. This is because enzyme is a catalyst. A catalyst does not change concentration as the reaction proceeds. The number of enzyme or the concentration of enzyme will remain the same. So 8A will be the only answer. Number 9, the graph shows the effect of temperature on the activity of an enzyme. At which temperature do effective collisions happen most frequently? As we can see, around 40, we have the highest enzyme activity. So 40 degrees Celsius will be the only correct answer. That's the temperature at which there is high enzyme activity. That means more enzyme and substrate complexes are created, and there are more collisions taking place. Which statement about enzyme is correct? They are made of carbohydrates. No, they're made of proteins. Their activity is unaffected by pH. No, that's not correct. Their activity is very much dependent on the pH. They're used up during the reaction. No, enzymes are not used up. They're catalysts, so they're not used up. They have a complementary shape to their substrate. Yes, that is correct. If the substrate and enzymes do not complement each other, there will be no reaction. So no product will form. Number 11, 2 test tubes are filled with hydrogen carbonate indicator. An aquatic plant was placed into each test tube, and the test tubes were sealed with bungs as shown. Test tube X was illuminated and test tube Y was kept in the dark. The results are shown. Test tube X, at the start of the investigation, color was orange of the indicator. At the end of the investigation, red. For Y, it was orange, and then it turned yellow. What causes the color change in the hydrogen carbonate indicator in X and Y? Okay, if we look at the diagram, since there is light and there is no blockage around the plant, So the plant will be photosynthesizing. So the carbon dioxide will be used up. The carbon dioxide will decrease here. And for this one, there is no light inside the box due to the box, obviously. So it will exclude light, so there will be no photosynthesis, only respiration will happen, and that will cause carbon dioxide concentration to rise. So that's why the color is red for test tube X and yellow in Y. So A will be the only correct answer. A decrease will cause the indicator to go red, and an increase will cause the indicator to go yellow. Number 12, the substances listed are found in the leaf of a plant. Which substance is obtained from the soil? This is clearly mineral ions, no doubt at all, because all of them, carbon dioxide comes from air, chlorophyll is naturally present in the plants, glucose is formed by the plants. As we know, plants make food, and the food is glucose. Number 13, the cholera bacterium produces toxins that cause chloride ions to be secreted into the small intestine. What is the immediate effect of this on the water potential of blood in the intestinal capillaries and on the water potential of the contents of the small intestine? All right, so since there is an increase in chloride ions, so we can say the solute has increased, so the solution is very concentrated. As a result of the concentrated solution, there will be less water potential in the small intestine and more blood in the capillaries. So number C is the only correct answer. (14) The graph shows the concentration of maltose in different parts of the alimentary canal. What causes the change in concentration at X? We know at small intestine the maltose is broken down completely. Maltose is actually broken down to glucose, and this is caused by maltase. The enzyme's name is maltase. So absorption of maltose, no. There will be no absorption of maltose. There will be absorption when glucose is broken, when maltose is broken down into glucose, and the glucose will be absorbed. Action of amylase, no. There is maltose present in the small intestine, so amylase won't work. Amylase works on starch, so no. Action of maltase, yes. C is the only correct answer. Assimilation of maltose, no. (15) The diagram shows a bean seedling soon after it has germinated. Where is the most water absorbed? Okay, this is clearly C, because C has the greatest surface area among these two, because this is the zone where water is absorbed. So C will be the only correct answer. 16. Scientists investigate the movement of a substance in a plant. They cut a ring of tissue from the stem. Removing the tissue removes some of the transport vessels found around the edge of the stem. A few days later, they notice swelling above the area where the tissue has been removed. Okay, swelling is just about this place. Okay, what causes the swelling? Okay, if you know the structure of stem, you will know that the phloem is in the outer region of the stem and xylem is inwards. So of course it will be either of these two. Phloem vessels have been removed and sucrose cannot move to the same. Yes, this is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. B is phloem vessels have been removed and sucrose cannot move to the source. No, it won't. It won't move to the source. It will move to the sink. So A is the only correct answer. '17. The diagram shows the outside of a human heart. Which structure is a coronary artery? The answer is very obvious. It's D. I'm sure you have seen a diagram of a heart before. So this is the coronary artery, the one which is seen as branching off throughout the heart structure. 18. The photomicrograph shows some different types of blood cells. What is the function of the cell labeled X? Okay, X is phagocytes. So phagocytes function is phagocytosis. So very straightforward. Clotting blood is done by platelets. Producing antibodies are lymphocytes, which have a round shape. The nucleus is a round shape, so no. Transporting oxygen is red blood cell, and this is not a red blood cell, obviously. So. 19. Campylobacter is a bacterium that can cause food poisoning. Which word describes Campylobacter? Antibody, no. Disease, no. C, pathogen, yes. Pathogen is anything that causes disease, and the bacterium is what causes a disease. So this is Campylobacter is a pathogen. 20. What is the approximate percentage of oxygen in expired air? This you have to remember. This is 16%. This is something you have to remember. That's it. 21. Which process could continue without energy from respiration? Active transport is very much dependent on respiration, so this won't be the answer. Growth. This can be continued to a certain extent. Osmosis is not. Osmosis can be continued without respiration, obviously, because it doesn't require oxygen. It doesn't require energy from respiration. So yes, it's just the movement of water. So 21C. 22. Which row shows the products of anaerobic respiration in humans and yeast? For this, you have to remember that humans only produce lactic acid in anaerobic respiration, and yeasts produce alcohol and carbon dioxide both. So B is the only correct answer. 23. A person eats food containing protein. Some of the amino acids in the protein are converted to urea and excreted from the body. Which row identifies the sites of processes 1, 2, and 3? Now, here you have to remember that proteins are broken down in the stomach and converted to amino acids. So, stomach. Amino acids are broken down to urea in the liver. And if you don't remember this, you can surely remember that urea is urea is converted to urine in kidney. So obviously A will be the correct answer. 24, what is a response to a low concentration of glucose in the blood? If there is low concentration, then there will be release of glucagon, and glucagon will cause the body to convert glucose into glycogen. No, glucose is converted into glycogen when there is an increase in concentration of glucose. So B will be the correct answer. The glycogen, which is the storage molecule, will be broken down into glucose to raise the concentration of glucose in the blood. 25, which hormone causes an increase in breathing rate, an increase in heart rate, and the widening of pupils? This is very common, the adrenaline, and this creates a fight and flight response, as you know. This increases the breathing rate, increase in heart rate, and also the pupils are widened. 26. Which row about tropic responses is correct? Root grows towards gravity, and shoot will grow not away from light source, but towards light source. So D will be the only correct answer. 27. What is the definition of a drug? A substance produced by a gland? No, that is not the case. A substance produced by white blood cells that is carried in the blood and destroys bacteria and virus? No, the body doesn't produce a drug. The substance taken into the body that modifies or affects the chemical reactions carried out in the body. This is the only correct answer. A substance that increases? No, it doesn't increase. Drugs do not always increase the rate of chemical reactions. 28. What is the sequence of events in sexual reproduction in plants? Okay, the correct sequence will be pollination first, and then growth of the pollen tube, and that will be followed by fertilization. So D is the only correct answer. 29. Which statement describes passive immunity? The process of antigen production in the body? No, that is active immunity. Defense against pathogens by antibodies acquired from another individual. This is a correct definition of passive immunity. The type of immunity that results from vaccination. This is also active immunity. Immunity that results in the production of memory cells. No. 29B is the only correct answer. 30. What happens to the number of chromosomes when a cell divides by meiosis? Doubles from diploid to haploid? No, that is half. That is having the number. So no. The haploid to diploid? No. Meiosis halves the number of chromosomes. That means C is the correct answer. Diploid to haploid. Haploid contains half the number of chromosomes of the body cells. 31. A sex-linked condition is caused by a recessive allele. A healthy male and female are both unaffected by the condition, but the female has one copy of the recessive allele. What is the chance of their offspring being affected by the sex-linked condition? Okay, if we draw a Punnett square and take A as the capital A as the dominant and small a as the recessive, and cross one will be dominant and another one will be recessive. This is the mother, this is the female, and this is the male. So XA, XA, so the XAY, this is XA, X small a, this will be X small a, Y. So 50% of all their offsprings, no, only this one will be affected. The other ones, this is two dominant alleles. This is one dominant allele. This is one dominant allele as well. So 3 of this will have the normal allele, which is unaffected by the condition. So A will not be correct. 100% of male offspring and 0% of female offspring. No, this is not correct either. 25% of all their offspring. This is correct, since 1/4 will be affected, and that is 25%. 32. The diagram shows the unspecialized cells of a mammalian embryo soon after fertilization. What is the correct description of these cells? Embryo cells undergoing meiosis. Embryo cells never undergo meiosis. Gametes undergoing mitosis. These are not gametes. These are cells from mammalian embryo. So no. Gametes are sex cells, and there is no sex cells here. Stem cells undergoing mitosis, very accurate, since we know embryo contains stem cells, which are undifferentiated cells that can convert into any cells in the body. So they will obviously undergo mitosis. 33. Which feature is a self-adaptation for a xerophyte? Xerophytes are plants that needs very little water. So hair-like structures on the leaves. Yes, this is the only correct answer. Due to the hair-like structures, there will be less air movement around them, less air movement, so there will be, or the wind will not be able to evaporate that much of water. That means transpiration will be less, so they will lose less water. What is an example of evolution? The genetic engineering of bacteria to produce human insulin? No, that is not evolution. The development of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Yes, this is an example of evolution, since there is genetic modification, and that causes the bacteria to have better survival skills. Due to the genetic modification, the bacteria will have better survival skills. So 35, the diagram shows the flow of energy through living organisms. Which term should be placed in both boxes to complete the diagram? Energy in plants, energy in animals. This is chemical. Both of them will be chemical energy. This is stored within the plants and the animals. 36, the diagram shows the nitrogen cycle in the ocean. Which stage represents nitrification? Nitrification is the conversion of ammonia to nitrate or nitrites. Here we can see that they are giving directly ammonia to nitrate. So C is the only correct answer. You have to remember the nitrification, the denitrification, and other stages of the nitrogen cycle. 37, the graph shows how much penicillin is produced by the fungus Penicillium in a fermenter. It also shows the concentration of sugars, ammonium ions, and penicillium. Penicillium uses sugars as a food source and needs ammonium ions. What does the graph show about the conditions needed for penicillin production? High concentration of ammonium ion must be maintained. When the concentration is high for the ammonium ions, there is no penicillin production. So this is not correct. Most penicillin is produced when nutrient concentrations are low. Okay, nutrients are sugars and ammonium. So both of them are low when penicillin production is the highest. Or like here, when both of them is very low, ammonium ions and sugars. So B is the correct answer. Penicillium cannot produce penicillin when its concentration decreases. Like low amounts of penicillin. So this is not correct either. Sugars must be added constantly to the fermenter. No, you are not required to add sugar since they didn't add sugar as well. So none of these options are correct. 38, the list shows some of the steps in the production of human insulin by genetic engineering. The human insulin gene is inserted into a bacterial plasmid using DNA ligase. A recombinant plasmid is inserted into a bacterium. The bacterium containing the recombinant plasmid replicates. The insulin gene is removed from human DNA using a restriction enzyme. What is the correct sequence of these steps? If you have studied genetic engineering, you must know that we are the first step we do is remove the insulin gene from the human DNA using the restriction enzyme. So that is the first step. So D will be the only correct answer. Then the human's insulin gene is inserted into the bacterial plasmid, and that is done by DNA ligase. The next step is recombinant plasmid is inserted into the bacterium, and the last step is the bacterium containing the recombinant plasmid replicates. So 4, 1, 2, 3. D is the correct answer. 39. Deforestation results in an increase in the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. What is the correct explanation? There is less decay. No, plants don't decay anything. So deforestation is the removal of plants. So A won't be correct. There is less photosynthesis for sure. Plants remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere by doing photosynthesis. So since there is less photosynthesis, there will be more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. There is less respiration? No. Due to less respiration, there will be less carbon dioxide. Okay, there is less transpiration? No. Transpiration does not change the concentration of carbon dioxide. 40, the last one for today, which definition of sustainable development is correct? Providing for the needs of an increasing human population without harming the environment. This is the only correct answer for sustainable development. Using a resource more quickly than it can be replaced, that is a disadvantage, so that would be correct. Using increasing areas of land for crops, livestock production, and housing. No. conservation of endangered species by captive breeding program and seed banks. That is not sustainable development. That is it for today. Thank you for watching. Please do make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Share it with your friends as well. Thank you.